Welcome to my review of the Phomemo PM246S thermal label printer. This is a 4x6 label printer that uses a standard USB type connection instead of Bluetooth. So that is something immediately that you have to be aware of, that it's not a wireless printer. It is going to use either the USB connection or the supplied USB type C dongle adapter that comes with this particular unit. The printer does plug into the wall using a standard DC barrel jack adapter, but unfortunately this particular adapter is not UL or ETL certified. On the back of the switching power adapter, it does mention that it has 24-volt output at 2.5 amps, so that is quite a lot of juice that this particular printer can take up. The printer itself is very, very compact. Again, it has that 4x6 front and rear slot loader with a paper edge trimmer, and on the top of the unit has a power button that is very, very simple to use because there are no other configuration controls on this printer aside from the rear Type B USB power plug. I would have loved to seen a USB Type C plug, but unfortunately it only has that traditional printer style plug at the back and the power on off switch with a latch release mechanism. And that's where you can open it up and clean it out if you have a paper jam, as well as has the thermal printing mechanism. But again, it does only print on one side because that is where the actual thermal mechanism is for the printing. But on the bottom, it has the paper detection and the paper roller. So I've just plugged in the printer itself. It does require drivers, so that is a little bit of configuration that you have to do in order to get this printer working. But it does come with some thermal paper. These are sticky labels for things like shipping labels for 4x6 usage, which is really nice to see. Because of how compact this 4x6 printer is, that the only mechanism for being able to insert in thermal rolls is going to be through the paper feed at the rear, and it has nice slots that are adjustable in terms of width so that you can use smaller sized labels if you wanted to do things like stickers or other kinds of thermal paper. That's totally flexible in that way, but it feeds through that mechanism there, and so it does fan out quite a little bit. Pressing that button on the top will actually move to the next page, and you'll notice that it does a really, really good job. Look at how precisely that the page is aligned to its cutting mechanism. And that is something that I really like about this particular printer, is how aligned that the paper roll is. A bit of a downside that there isn't a roll-based mechanism. It's just an open feeder type of a style for being able to insert in thermal labels. But it's totally fine when you're doing things like shipping labels. Again, let's take a look at, again, that precision mechanism. And let's see what happens when you get to the end of the roll. And once you're at the end of the roll, it will alert you that the printer is out of thermal labels, so that you know you're printing the next task there, that it will be flashing red so that you know that you have to insert in more thermal paper. So far with feeding the paper, the quality has been that there are slight indents on the page itself, but that's not too bad because I will be peeling off some of these sheets in order to actually stick them on. So that's totally fine. There are some slight markings of the roller going through the pages, but other than that, it does hold up quite well in terms of the making sure that the paper isn't crumbled and it goes through smoothly. So let's go ahead and print out some test pages and see how well that label quality output is with different types of graphics, as well as with standard shipping label type output at 4x6 at a higher DPI resolution. Alright, so I'm done configuring up the printer on a Linux system. It does have driver support for both Windows, Mac, and Linux, so it is cross-compatible with a lot of different devices, including Chrome devices, and so you can just use it plug and play, but you do have to install that special driver software, and that does take some time to figure out, but it's good that they have instruction manual that walks you through doing that setup process. But once you have that configured, you can print it like a regular printer. You just have to make sure that you set the page size and the color mode to black and white, because this printer only supports grayscale and black and white print output. It can do images, it can also do text, and I was able to get a test page printed really quickly. So taking a look at the print quality is actually pretty nice. It does have options for around 203 DPI setting, but again, you have to specify that 4x6 page size or any other size. I really like that the print quality does reproduce individual pixels and dots. If we take a look, zooming in here, you can see clearly those individual pixel elements, and the circles are pretty round. So it can do graphics, it can do images, very basic images in black and white. In terms of grayscale performance, I mean, this is kind of really the best quality that it does. You have your black, you have your darker, so it will be actuating the level of depth of individual pixels in order to get that grayscale effect, because it is mostly black and white. You can clearly see how crisp that text output is on this printer, especially at such a high and fast print speed. So overall, I'm quite happy with this particular printer. It does take a little bit of configuration to be able to set it up, but it has a really nice feeder, as well as the built-in trimmer that can cut pages very seamlessly. The other thing I liked was how smoothly that the paper rolls through it, and how high precision the actual stopping motion is. So if you actuate one of these pages, again, it stops very precisely at that label cutter angle, so it's never going to be wasting. You can see there it has trimmable edges, but it stops exactly where it needs to. And you can insert individual pages as well, but this is kind of how the print system works on this, with pretty decent quality, I would say, overall.
What's it? A movie.